Yeah, it is.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of At Home with Mark. Season 5, lucky episode 13 with the OG Godfather himself, Marty Schwartz. Dude, thank you so much for doing this, man.
Hey, Mark, nice to meet you, and thanks for having me.
What are you running through? It actually sounds great through here.
Well, Mark, it's a trade secret. No, what's so awesome is it's nothing fancy at all, ladies and gentlemen. The tried and true
Oh, hell yeah.
Boss Katana. That's I'm playing through a Boss Katana, and it has a direct out. And so I'm actually not, the amp is not mic'd right now. It's a direct out into a brand new, only a few days old, Universal Audio Volt.
Oh, yeah.
So what I'm doing right now is I have one mic here on my voice, and then just a line out of the Boss Katana. And I do have a pedal board, but it's just an overdrive pedal, looper, a little delay.
Sounds great.
But I mean, I am endorsed by Boss, so I just want to say that up front. They treat me really well. But I will say a $389 amplifier that sounds like that and is as loud as that, you can rehearse with a band with it, and then it has the pedal effects built in as well. Mm-hmm. So, you can, it's just the most amazing bedroom amp. Like if you and I had it, I'm jealous of my younger self is jealous of the Boss Katana.
Dude, I mean, when I have a really close friend who I grew up with, was in my wedding, and he kind of got away from playing guitar. We were in a band together when you're younger. And so he was getting back into it, and he's like, I'm going to get an amp. What should I get? I'm like, you should get a Boss Katana. Like, it's plenty loud for you to play with a group if you start playing with some cats. Like, it sounds great. Like, I highly endorse it, too. I'm not even endorsed by them, but I love that amp. It's great.
And I'll say there are, comparable amps that are fantastic as well. Yamaha makes one, and there's, these new companies that are just making bedroom amps, like the Spark, I think it's called.
Yeah.
I hear great things about all of them, but I've been playing the Katana for a handful of years, and I've even gigged with it recently. At the Belly Up Tavern in Solana Beach. It's a big place, but you don't really. I mean, I've rehearsed with bands with it, everything. So
yeah, there ain't nothing wrong with that amp, folks. It's great. What else could you ask for?
Yeah. Does anyone ever play on this podcast?
Yeah, I've had a bunch of people like Joe Robinson played. Who else? I don't know if Guthrie.
He's great.
Oh, dude, he's killing.
He's incredible.
Yeah, I've had a bunch of people play on here.
Okay, cool.
Matt Schofield did a little bit. Yeah. So we've had some cats. I love that guitar, by the way. Every time I see you with that guitar, I just got a 335 about a month ago, and I haven't had one my whole life, and I'm 43 years old.
Nice.
And I am flipping out, man. Such a great guitar. Such a great guitar.
Very versatile. Very versatile, You can
my God.
You can get that woody sound from that front pickup that you don't really get from a Les Paul or an SG. But then you can go to that.
Yeah, man.
Am I just guaranteeing that all this is getting claimed for you right now? Sorry.
It doesn't matter.
I'm very familiar with it.
I know you are.
Hey, man. Sometimes I'll play in a live stream. I'll just can't resist, and I play something, and I realize, okay, the whole thing's claimed now. So then I'll just start playing other things and let the claims all fight each other. So I'll just start, I won't do it right now. But
trolling everyone, that's great.
Yeah, and then I also have a series. Well, it's not really a series; it's a series in my mind, but where I just take famous riffs and just play them wrong.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Anyway, just
Dude,
having
that's
fun
great.
here.
Yeah, man. That's what this is all about. That's what I'm all about. Marty, I have so much I want to ask you, man.
Let's do it.
I've been watching you probably since, like, and I'm sure everyone says this to you, but I mean, like, I think when I first got married and we moved into our house in like 2006 or whatever, I mean, the infancy of YouTube, I saw you popping up.
Yep.
And we're gonna get there, but I always ask this question first of all my guests.
Okay.
What is your earliest musical memory?
Earliest musical memory.
It doesn't have to be guitar related
Right.
necessarily.
No, it's a good question. I think what it must be is probably, well, I can make anything up, right? No, I was talking to my mom about this. She had a baby blue convertible VW Beetle when I was in preschool, and she had I visually remember the 8-track player.
Oh, heck yeah.
Well, I'm a few years older than you, not much, a few, but I remember, I have a memory of the 8 tracks in the Beetle, and it was the Grease soundtrack, because I have an older sister, and it's her birthday. I don't think she's watching, but happy birthday, Lisa.
Heck yeah, happy birthday.
But so the Grease soundtrack, you know, she was a huge Olivia Newton-John fan. So the Grease soundtrack, Donna Summers with an S, right? Not Summer. Donna Summer? Or no, maybe no S.
Is
Donna
it no
Summer.
S?
Donna Summer? Someone
Either
will
way.
tell us in the comments, but that, you know, looking for some hot stuff, you know, that whole disco thing. And the jazz singer, Neil Diamond jazz singer soundtrack. I just remember those three, like, for whatever reason that memory is there. That's like my earliest musical memory I can think of. My dad played lots of Cat Stevens when I was little, so that's a huge one for me. That's like one of the most nostalgic artists that I can listen to, just because of my personal thing.
Nice.
And then I definitely bought Thriller cassette. So I gave you more than one, but you know, that's like the evolution. My dad always had a guitar lying around, so I have early memories of playing with the tuners. You know, I didn't play guitar, but like playing, you know, just going.
Detuning his guitars, and then he goes to pick them up. I'm like, what happened?
Yeah, and he's not a good guitar player anyway, so yeah, Donna Summer, no S.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
Thank you for the comment, BV Ninja.
Yeah, BV's the moderator. Thank you, BV. He listed all BV listed all of your spots where you can go see. Yeah,
Thanks so
thank
much.
you for doing that.
And all the nice comments. Thank you
very
much.
Yeah, we got some people in here. LPD pedals. Do you know about those? About Lawrence?
Oh, hey, LPD pedals. I am not familiar.
Okay, so Lawrence was on the show was it last week, Lawrence? He builds some of the greatest stuff. I mean, he sent me this pedal and I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And I plugged it in and immediately put Velcro on it, put it on my board. And that doesn't happen. And it's just, you should check out his stuff. It's really amazing. Like, especially with that 335 that I just got, the notes are just like bloom and it's beautiful.
Awesome.
OCE pedals. I don't know if you know about them, but
how's it going?
Based in Burbank.
And also Bartell amps we're fired up about, I see.
Yeah. So
I do have Rick Beato's phone number, and I do have Rhett Scholl's phone number. I don't know if they're gonna answer. If you know, maybe they might. They might actually. Rhett Scholl, I just missed him by a couple days here because I'm here in Nashville right now. I've been here for about 4 days, and he called me like the day before saying, "Hey, I'm in Nashville. Let's do something."
Nice.
And wasn't able to do it, and then. People don't realize, but I have been on Rick's. I mean, not saying in the comments here, but I've been on Rick's channel before.
Yeah,
he's been on my channel, but it was right before his like meteoric explode. I mean, he was already killing it, but like that next level was like just about to happen. So, so I think our videos that we did kind of got buried in whatever the crazy, amazing success he started to have with all the videos and everything. But anyway,
I got to go back and
he's
check
great.
that out. I feel like I saw that when it came out.
We did more than one. I mean, we did. You know, Rick and I are very different in like the content clearly that we make, and he likes to, you know, get down and dirty with topics and whatnot. And it was at the time that Mark Agnesi made that Gibson video where he like said, "You've been warned" or something, and it's just it happened the day that we were supposed to collaborate with Rick Beato, so he was just one track mind wanting to make a video to talk about that. And I'm not really like a call people out thing. So I was that, you know, it just wasn't like a perfect fit for a collaboration because I didn't want to like say anything bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You seem like you're a very kind human being.
Thank
like,
you. I really try. I try. I'm about. So, guys, my birthday's in 3 days. I'll be 48. So, what I'm trying to do is learn from all, you know, all these gray hairs, right? I've tried to learn from mistakes and you know, be a good person. I know what's important to me. I also love what I do. That helps a lot.
Dude, I just heard this quote from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson that I'm like now totally locked into.
Yeah.
And he said his grandmother told him one day, "It's nice to be important, but it's important to be nice."
Yeah.
It's way more important to be nice. And
Right.
when I first heard that, I was like, man, that really hits home. You know, it's like, it's the simplest thing, but it's like, if we could all just do that and get along.
Right. Something that I've noticed, you know, because the world is so divided and social media and information and all, you know, it is kind of a scary time, but just with you know, confusion and information, you know, the wrong information, misinformation on purpose and all that, but and also being a creator on YouTube, you know, you see like hateful comments, etc. Like, I'm really lucky it's not that bad, but you know, anyone, right? We're used to it now. And something that I really like is when I go out, you know, like here in Nashville, and just go out to the grocery store or to a restaurant, and you know, you could be talking to someone that might not have all the same beliefs as you, or you know, maybe behind a screen you would, you know, hate each other, but you know, people are genuinely pretty nice, at least around here. And I go, you know, people are a lot nicer in person than they are behind the screen, you know. So I try and remember that, you know, try and have hope, you know, in people.
Yeah, man. I don't think there's a thing wrong with that, living your life that way. I mean, we should give the benefit of the doubt to everybody, right?
Sure.
Well, let's loop back into music. We don't want to get too heavy on that.
No.
So for you though, for these early memories, this was hearing music first and foremost.
Yeah.
That probably sparked.
My first concert was the Go-Go's.
Nice.
Because I have an older sister, again.
Of course.
You know, she got to kind of be bossy with those types of things. But I mean, everyone my age loved Thriller. So there was definitely something with Thriller that just made, and the rise of music media, MTV. I don't know. You're just a few years younger, but when Thriller video came out, they played it on every hour.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I was telling, you know, I work with some of my production people are in their 20s, and you know, so I said that, and they blew their mind.
Yeah, dude, I have older siblings too, so I got everything kind of got distilled down to me, you know, and including my love for jam bands and stuff comes from my older siblings.
Nice. We can talk about I can talk about that a lot.
Let's get into that.
But my younger brother, I have a younger brother, so I'm the middle child. Hey, look at me, I'm the entertainer, everyone. The middle child. Big shock. Marty Schwartz is the middle child. My younger brother got my mentorship. I mentored him. He's my first student, you know, truly my first guitar student. I taught him guitar, and you know, so
beautiful.
So I was like, you know, exposing him to my music, so I got to do that.
That's
too.
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so great,
But
dude.
yeah, whatever you let's keep going here.
So I kind of wanted to talk about, so how did you end up with that thing in your hands? Because obviously your dad had it, right? And you're messing
Yeah.
with tuning pegs, but like
Yeah,
what,
yeah.
because at some point for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
there's a path that you can choose. Like I love music. I'm either going to play the drums. It's either I'm going to play the drums or I'm going to play the guitar. The bass is never kind of thought about, unfortunately, but like how did you end up there?
I definitely was passionate about music, from that time of listening to the Thriller album and then just living in the age of MTV. So music culture was like in my face, in my face all the time. I remember coming home from junior high and immediately you'd come in, you'd grab a snack or whatever and immediately turn on MTV like every single day. And I remember Paradise City was number one for like 3 months. The number one video. They do the video countdown right timed with coming home from school. So I remember always following the bands. My older sister had like cool boyfriends, and I grew up in California, so they'd like go up to LA and see bands, and they taught me about the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Guns N' Roses and just like LA rock in the late 80s. They were my sister was part of that. And so, yeah, I kind of idolized these like bad boy boyfriends that she had with, big hair and stuff.
Nice.
But so I was definitely super into music. I saved money to buy cassettes and then CDs, but did not play guitar. When I was 13, 8th grade. Yeah, it was 8th grade. A couple of my buddies started playing a little bit. Someone who was an amazing guitar player already. Hey, Texas Blues Alley.
Yeah, Anthony's in here. I just saw that. Yeah. He was on here too. He's a great guy as well.
Awesome. Yeah, he's a great guy. Love Anthony. I've hung with Anthony. The NAMM shows used to be really epic for the hangs. That's where we all have met,
That's
where
great.
I met Rick for the first time and stuff like that.
Oh, that's killer.
Oh, but let's talk about my guitar journey.
Yeah.
Mark. I had a couple buddies, and I was going to say one of them was Brett Papa, who is Papa Stash, or he's not Papa Stash anymore, just Brett Papa, no mustache. But I grew up with Brett. We went to school together, and he was like already ripping like Iron Maiden, and he was a huge Van Halen fan, and Ozzy Osbourne. That was like, and it was like always a magic trick to me. I never knew that. I thought you had to be like special to play an instrument, and this is before the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So when I saw anytime I saw anyone playing live music, it was like a magic trick to me. So I was always enamored with music, always enamored with people that could play. We start becoming teenagers, and guys like Brett are starting to play songs that you recognize. Like he could play Iron Man by Black Sabbath, and we're all just like, oh my god, we're like riding the bus together. we did. Brett and I rode the bus together in junior high. Yeah.
Is he in Nashville now?
Yeah,
too?
he's in Nashville. He moved to Nashville like 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
I'm just a part-timer, but back and forth. But so I did have some buddies that played, so I was like, wow, that's really cool. My dad was just my dad played 3 or 4 chords and play some hippie, Actually, my dad's not watching, but he's tone deaf. My dad is completely tone deaf. So I wasn't like born into this musical family. But my dad would be like, he'd play. Yeah, there is a house in New Orleans. But that's already more in tune than my dad, and I'm not a good singer either. But I remember him like just barely being able to play, and but because of that, we would go into the local guitar store, and I still vividly remember like falling in love with like a Seafoam green Strat, which now I have 2 of those. But that was like I still remember, and I didn't play guitar, but I just loved the look of that Strat, and the smell of the guitar. It was a little guitar shop. It's still there in Laguna Beach, Laguna Guitar Shop. tiny little store. You could smell the wood of the guitars and everything. And so I got a guitar basically and I took like 3 or 4 lessons there at this Laguna guitar shop. And it's actually a huge like moment for me and what I do now. When I was 13 taking those lessons, the guitar teacher, and this is very normal for a lot of people, especially before the internet. One, I'm going to guitar lessons, so he must be what guitar lessons are like, because I'm 13, so I don't really get to make my own choices too much. But in my mind, I'm like, well, this is what guitar lessons are. There's no difference in different types of teachers and different ways of learning. You go in, this is how it's done. And which there's nothing wrong with it, and I guess traditionally it would be right, but he had the, Mel Bay guitar book.
Mm-hmm.
And, for 4 weeks, we were just sight reading, on one string, like. And not like, hey, what kind of music do you like? Let's just learn a 1-string riff so you have something cool to do when you get home, and that'll motivate you. Or like, what else do you like to do? Learning about me, or like becoming a mentor or whatever. It was just by the book, literally by the book, opening the pages and doing the single note stuff. And I was like, this is the most boring thing I've ever done. I didn't know that you could do it another way, right? So then I took those 4 lessons, and because of those lessons, in my mind, I was not good at guitar, and I wasn't made for it, you know? And it was just because it wasn't the right type of teacher that would have got me hyped up, Because the sight reading is really good for you as a music student, but not maybe as the first thing, If you're like 3 years later, you're like, oh, I want to get more serious. Okay, well, let's start working on your sight reading. There's no reason that it wouldn't. You'd get it much quicker than if you did it at the beginning. But a piano lesson, you do it that way. You're reading from the very beginning. It's all about the sight reading, right? So I understand as a music teacher now that that's important, but I was a failure. I was a failure for him because I left. He stopped getting money from my dad for he didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was 8th grade. And then my dad, I'm bringing up again, he's one of those, sporty jock dads yelling at the umpires and stuff. He just is. Sorry.
Yeah, it happens.
He is that guy. Yeah. So, so in other words, I played a lot of sports in high school. But then senior year of high school, I just hit my limit.
Yeah, dude. Amen.
You start getting, start getting a little older, and you start wanting. You're like, wait, I want to make up my own choices.
Yeah.
like not playing sports.
Totally.
But I quit all sports senior year of high school. The summer before senior year of high school. Once again, I'm a huge music fan, just not a naturally gifted, musician. But I think it was probably 1992, I saw Santana, but I saw Blues Traveler open for Santana. And once again, this is before the internet, look at the gray hair.
Yeah.
But I think it was the first time Blues Traveler had ever been to California, and there was no word of mouth. And the word jam band didn't exist yet.
Yeah.
But that was like they were like one of the first East Coast jam bands to make it over to the West Coast. They got a good gig opening for Santana's tour, and little Marty Schwartz was blown away because they were a younger, current, contemporary band, but sounded more like the Allman Brothers and Santana and the Grateful Dead, and they were improvising and jamming and all this stuff that now we just like. There's so many jam bands, and we're like so used to it. But at that moment, not knowing that genre really didn't exist yet, and not knowing about Fish, not knowing about any of the bands, I loved the Allman Brothers, Sly and the Family Stone, James Brown. I had friends that got me into like the Muddy Waters and Chess
Oh yeah.
records and stuff when I was in high school before I played. But you know, like I said, I was definitely a musicologist in the making, like just as a fan of music, and my friends that I'm still friends with were the same way. But so I quit all sports, and I borrowed a guitar from my dad. My parents are divorced, so he had, you know, more than one guitar by the time I was in senior in high school or something. But I just remember, oh yes, Blues Traveler. Yeah, the Jurassic period.
Yeah, I was letting you go, and I was gonna pop that up there, but yeah, that's
no,
hilarious.
okay. So back
we're old.
Yeah. But I'm sure a lot of these people are right there with us, right? I know
Oh yeah,
Anthony
for sure.
is.
Oh yeah, heck yeah, he is.
This was during the Dave Matthews Band era. So this is but this is actually before Dave Matthews. I'm not even sure Dave Matthews was formed at this.
I don't think he was
in
kicking at
91 or 92. He was a bartender, and the other musicians were playing in a band. Anyway, we'll get distracted from that. But so I saw Blues Traveler, and it was more about the fact that I liked these classic rock bands. I was super into classic rock, like Skinner, Rolling Stones, Beatles, Grateful Dead, Sly and the Family Stone, James Brown, Chess Records. You know, loved the Allman Brothers. Oh my God, I listened to so much Allman Brothers during that time.
I can tell you like the Allman Brothers.
Yeah, well, I learned to solo to Dickie Betts. Like I did, you know. Yeah. I can really lay in the Dickie Betts when I want, if I really want to, but I try and not to, you know.
Nice.
But seeing Blues Traveler, and then a couple of my good friends from that same time who were starting to play, not just Brett Papa, but some other people. I had some friends that were jamming, you know, like a drummer and a bass player and a guitar player, and they were all really good friends of mine from growing up, but I didn't play anything. So being inspired by Blues Traveler that summer, I bought a harmonica and just played the harmonica not knowing anything, and just played along in the car, you know. Sometime, you know, it was always magical when it would be in the right key, because I didn't know anything about that. I just had a C harmonica, like that's the first one you get, and I would play along to all the Blues Traveler songs in totally the wrong keys. Yeah, just screwing, almost like a fantasy, you know, like a fantasy. But one day, sitting on the couch, I went, and I, you know, got a little
bent a note, yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's that sound. And so then that was one step, and then the next step. And so I started hanging out with my buddies that were kind of not really a band, but they would, you know, every day after school they would jam. And so I just started working my way in there on the harmonica. And by doing that and jamming on harmonica, I did start to, you know, learn a little bit how to play, just through, you know, by accident, really. But because of that, I was now around a band of my friends, and my really good buddy, Brian Rashap, shout out, first person to teach me the pentatonic scale. Brian Rashap is a bass player in Northern California. He plays guitar too, but he is Phil Lesch's production manager these days, and he plays bass in a band called the Mother Hips. It's a great band. Mother Hips, everyone should check them out. Great songwriting. Definitely, you know, they would get pigeonholed as a jam band, but they actually sing well. So, and John Popper sings like I mean, he's an amazing singer, honestly, and a great lyricist too. He gets underappreciated for his wordplay. He has very clever lyrics, but like the song "Hook,"
I know I was gonna say
the song "Hook" is about the fact that you don't need any meaning to your song if it's got a good hook. Yeah. It's telling you that in the song with a great hook.
Yeah.
A lot of people think it's the heart brings you back. I've just, from meeting people when I talk about that song. Because I talked to Big Wax about that song, because he doesn't know anything about Blues Traveler. Because Big Wax is such a good lyricist. I was like, check out these lyrics. I think you actually appreciate them. And so he did. But so my buddy Brian Rashap, who's still a musician today, taught me the D chord. And I was like, cool, I got one chord. So whenever I show up now, and you guys are talking or, trying to work something out, I can go over and go,
I know this one.
I can go. And then by accident, I did this. I was, do you recognize that? And then, but I was like, but I'm good. I'm not like, in my mind, I was still not someone that could really ever become like a real musician. And I was like, all right, just show me 2 other chords, and then I'll be good. And so it was like, just real. I mean, I remember sounding bad. I remember being a beginner. I was like, all right, a 3rd chord. Ooh, I can actually play some songs with 3 chords. I mean, you could play some songs with 2 chords. And I was like, yeah, but, I'm just going to strum acoustic just for fun. Never going to, like, do anything serious with it. But show me that bar chord. That does seem hard, And I was like, okay. And then I got that. And I was like, but I'll never solo. All right, show me that scale thing you just did. Maybe I'll try it.
It's like a drug, man. You get hooked.
Yeah. Well, the thing especially was that each time when it was my friend and we're laughing and joking around and just, goofing off in between, all of a sudden it was like, this is not as hard as I remember, and so I just kept learning little things, and that's still how I think people should learn. You just keep learning you just stack.
Yeah.
You stack little ideas. I mean, someone like Guthrie Trapp has just been stacking ideas for
decades,
25 years or whatever. Yeah. And him and Osnoy. Oh, we were talking before. I saw Guthrie Trapp and Osnoy last night at a dive bar down the street, and it just, I mean, my face, I had to scoop up my face off the floor.
Was it at the Underdog?
Yeah.
Is that where they were playing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that place is cool. It's like a hole in the wall.
Just total dive bar. But, it was funny because I was like, yeah, it's Monday night. I want to show support for talented people. And they're Guthrie's become my friend. I mean, he's just so incredible. But I was like, yeah, I want to show up and show support. I couldn't even get in. It was so packed. So I was like, all right, I think they're doing all right tonight.
Yeah.
And there was a ton of sick guitar players there too. Everyone was a guitar player there with their their jaws open. And I met this guy named Eddie who is in these guitar ads that are in front of my videos all the time. And he was there. And so it was really funny. Because he has a beard. He's younger than me, but he's got a beard. I mean, I don't know if he's like Italian, but we don't look like brothers per se, but he's got a beard and he's, a guitar. He's holding a guitar and everything. And it was just so funny that I got to meet him because there was this meme that made me laugh so hard that he was in. And it was, I don't want to endorse the Guitar Circle Jerk Reddit. I guess I just did. But I think it was in there, which, by the way, I avoid that Reddit, but I have my management looks at it. So, because it's just if someone hits one of my buttons, it's like too painful. Like I can take a lot, but that Reddit can be pretty brutal with the roasting.
I'm sure.
But this one was shown to me, and I think that's where it came from. But it was, you ever, it's a classic meme that you see all the time, like evil blah 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 isn't real. It can't get you, and then it says evil blah blah blah, and it's like some funny picture, right? Well, this guy Eddie, it was in the meme. It was like evil Marty Schwartz can't hurt you, and then it's like evil Marty Schwartz, and it's a picture of him instead of me, and it just made me laugh really hard, and so
that's gotta feel good too, though, Marty. Like it's like you've become an icon in this. You have, like, you've become, and like for right reasons, man. You were like trailblazer at the beginning of all this stuff.
I do have to say, thank you, everyone. I mean, every day, like I got to shoot at the Ryman Theater with the guitar player from The Revivalists yesterday, and it wasn't just unique to yesterday, but when those moments are happening and I'm on my way to go shoot at the Ryman, I'm driving. I'm like, I get to do this for a living, So one of the reasons I make so many damn videos that everyone's like, how do you make so many videos? I mean, one of the reasons is I just don't want to squander this amazing opportunity, Like I feel very motivated to do this. The last 3 years or so, there's artists in their 20s that are now starting to come out. And that's been the most exciting thing that I wasn't expecting, or wasn't really looking far enough down the road to like, oh, there's like 5-year-olds when I came out that are now adults
Yeah.
who have, I helped them get going on it. And one of the good things about TikTok for me is that it's that younger generations on there. And when I do something there, it's the same comment over and over, like, "Oh, I used to watch you when I was little," or like, "You taught me how to play, and now I'm gigging, right?" And so
Right.
here in Nashville, anytime I'm out in public, someone comes up and says they're out gigging now or they're pursuing their dream, and I got them started. Now, when a baby boomer comes up to me, they're around before the internet and after the internet. So it's kind of like more like, oh, I discovered you and I remember finding your videos and stuff like that. With the younger generation, it's not like I found you or discovered you. It's like I am the teacher for them. And
Yeah.
there's other great teachers, including Anthony, who's watching, or maybe he's not watching anymore, but he was talking about Rusted Root there, another
Yeah, I saw that.
90s jam band. So there's amazing teachers out there, and I respect Anthony for one, but anyone who's out there trying to help, I don't really think of the competitiveness too much, Although I guess I have 3.5 million subscribers helps,
Well, what's funny is like, so I only started doing this when I was watching you back in like 2006 or 7 or whatever. I was like, oh, this would be fun to do this. I don't even know how I would upload videos onto the internet though. So like at that time, but I didn't start doing this until almost 3 years ago is when gigs shut down, like everybody. You heard this story a million times, I'm sure. But like when gigs shut down, I was like, I'm not trying to do it for money. I have a day job. I work for the Berklee College of Music. I love it. Awesome. I do this for fun, and I really enjoy talking to people and hearing their stories. But it's funny because I was talking to my buddy Mike Palmisano.
He lives near you, right?
20 minutes, dude. We're like 20 minutes from each other.
Cool.
But we were talking
a long time ago.
He's a great dude.
Yeah.
But he told me he's the reason I'm doing this. Like he was like, you should do this, man. You can do it. There's an audience for everyone. But just like watching people like you, it's inspiring for us as guitarists too, because I appreciate the fact that you care about pedagogy. You care about the right ways for each individual person. It's not going to be right for everybody, but I can tell that you give a shit about, like, I know this doesn't work for everybody, or sight rating doesn't.
Right.
Finding a song you love and figuring out how to wrap your hands around it is monumental for people.
I've also seen people, I helped promote the Rocksmith game when it came out. Or it's not a game. It's a, it's like Guitar Hero with a real guitar. And I noticed even just through that, and Anthony, and thanks Anthony for hanging around, but Anthony reminds me of this because Anthony shoots a lot of videos from over the shoulder, where it's like from the player's perspective. And so that's a good example also with Rocksmith is I've just learned that people learn different ways. Like some people, who are more geared to becoming like an engineer, and then you have someone like or a mathematician, they could still become amazing musicians, but their brain chemistry is a little different than like me.
Me too.
Or what I was going to say is I have a daughter who's a senior in high school, and I've nurtured, but she is 100% an artist. There was no way around. Like she's a creative, person. So I've noticed that different people learn different ways, and so some people I've seen comment like, why don't more people shoot with that angle like Anthony, and other people want it another way, so I can just, I've learned a lot about that. I just do the most common thing, it's not, Anthony's agreeing, which thanks. And thank you, Anthony, for hanging out.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, different people, like, so Rocksmith is where I was going with that. It's this like visual grid, And for me, it's just not how I would want to learn guitar, but I've seen people become amazing through using it to learn. So I definitely believe in it, but just for me, it was more about a hang with somebody was a big part of it. All my guitar teachers, I helped the best guitar, like the main guitar teacher I've had multiple guitar teachers, but the main one I had is named Chris Sherland, and I helped him start a channel during the pandemic. And he also made a theory course for Marty music too. So he taught me. He's teaching a lot of people because of the stuff he taught me, and I'm now passing it along.
That's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely. I mean, for me, when I first took my first lesson, it was exactly what you described, the antithesis of that in terms of like, what music do you like?
Right.
We'll get there, but we had to start with these certain things, and I'll never forget my whole entire life that like my second or third lesson, he had already taught me first position stuff, and he was like, here's a song called Wish You Were Here by this band Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
Go home, here's the chords that are in it, they're out of order on this page, I want you to figure out. It was a great ear training exercise.
Awesome.
And I'll never forget that. And then that like nourished and like nurtured my ear.
Awesome. Yeah.
It's just like there's little things that if you can find those little things in each student, that really sparks the fire, man. It just it spreads.
Absolutely. So that reminds me of before YouTube really took off for me. I had a YouTube channel from the very beginning because my daughter, who's now 17, was a little toddler taking her first steps back, 14 or whatever. No, 16 years ago, right? So before my YouTube channel, I had a regular person YouTube channel, and it was literally so I could share video of my daughter taking her little steps to send to my family.
Right.
Because you couldn't send a clip like you can now. I mean, of course, we're just so used to just, hey, check out this funny video or whatever. So at the time, I was like, oh, I want to share this video, but it's too big to put into an email, etc. So I was like, oh, that thing, YouTube. Yeah, I can host videos on there and then just share it with my family with a link. Oh, that's so smart, blah, blah, blah. So I had a YouTube channel, and it was just for that, right? But that led to what I thought of after you just saying what you were saying is I was teaching, there was a particular, this is the one of the aha moments. There's multiple aha moments for me to get to this, but one of the first aha moments, I had a YouTube channel just for personal crap. I didn't even play guitar on it.
Right.
Because I didn't think that's what it was for. I thought it was for old TV clips of comedy and like sharing your own, having a way to share videos, hosting videos. But so there was one in particular week, I taught thousands of guitar lessons before videos, which really helps me a lot as I did it so much with real people and real feedback back, Like I had students that had become really good before YouTube. But so I taught a lot of little kids, and there was one week where more than one kid wanted to learn Stairway to Heaven that week. And I was just kind of like burned out on it. I was teaching so many lessons that you couldn't not be burned out.
Right.
But so I still remember it so well in my mind as the kid was saying, hey, I want to learn Stairway to Heaven. I was like, in my mind, I said, I need to make a video of this, of teaching it, and just put it on my YouTube. And when a kid asks, I'll be like, I'll totally teach you Stairway to Heaven, but let's do something else this week. And I'll send you a link to the video lesson. And so then next week, I just want you to watch the video. And then when we get together, I'll help, tighten it all up for you. And
Brilliant.
That was like this aha moment, because then another kid was like, I want to learn Stairway to Heaven. I was like, you can go to my video. And then the next aha moment was I was teaching a student, and he was the class, any guitar teachers out there will know, the classic like, oh, I didn't practice.
Yeah.
He's a teenager. I was not. I was so mellow with these people, but he annoyed me a little bit because it was like 3 weeks in a row. And, it's just, we're wasting everyone's time,
Yeah.
And I remember what it was. It was Fire by Hendrix. So he had good taste. I think that's why I was like holding out hope. It's so funny too. He's like a dad now, and he was just this teenager. Just how much
So
time goes
weird.
by. Because I just see him on Instagram. My old student. I don't think he stuck with it, but
Yeah.
that third or fourth week in a row, um, don't remember it. I don't remember how it goes. Like just stupid. Like there's no streaming yet, so maybe he just whatever. It was just excuses. I said, "All right, man, I'm gonna flip up my camera on my laptop right now, and I'm going to play the riff and break it down in this video right now, and then I'm gonna put your name in the title, so there's no way you won't be able to find it, and then I'm gonna watch the views to make sure you watched it. I'm gonna check the views."
Oh, that's
and
great.
and that was my brilliant innovative concept. But what that did actually spark was doing it for all my students, and then building
So
up
smart.
an archive of videos on a channel to because I had business cards in all the local music stores. And I would get like blind calls. Oh, so and so told me you're a good guitar teacher, right? And they just have to like go on that recommendation. There's no resume really to check out. So then in my mind, I was like, I'll be head of the pack of all the local guitar teachers here in San Diego, because I'll have a channel, and anyone that calls, I say, yeah, you can check out my YouTube channel. You can see my style of teaching. And not only that, I'll make clips for you too, in our lessons. And so I started kind of just like the last like 10 minutes of a lesson, I would make a video of like what we did, just a recap. Like, okay, my favorite students were the ones that already played guitar. I had this one guy, an adult, who was in a band, but he was the rhythm guitar player, and he wanted to up his lead chops. So he already played really well. That was like my favorite kind of student. It was like, oh yeah, I know exactly
Yeah.
what to do here, because I remember, not thinking I could solo, and we're gonna do it. But so that I remember his name was Tom Gomez, and I'd be like, all right, so today we're just working on that C minor pentatonic. We had a couple really cool licks that I want you to just repeat as many times as possible. And then after that, we used the blues scale to go into it. And then went down the blues scale. And then and I would do that every single week. And I started doing it with all my students, building up a YouTube channel. It sucks that YouTube channel is not around anymore. I
Right.
think at some point I just deleted it. I wasn't. It would have been so cool to have that like vintage thing now.
Dude, well, think about it, man. Like when I said Trailblazer, you probably were one of the first that did
One of
this,
them,
man.
definitely not the first. Definitely not the first.
But look what you've created. Like,
yeah.
and you've now all these other cats are like, I can do that too. You know what I mean? It's like it's crazy, dude.
It's amazing. I am definitely living my dream. Like when I was getting good at guitar, this job that I have didn't exist, and so what you dream of is like, playing it, getting in some famous band, and being out on the road, and all that stuff, and I just realized that what I do now is just so much more fulfilling than the original dream, even. But it just didn't exist.
I saw things shift for you at some point where
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you kind of like, it's almost like you found the lane that you were like, I do this thing really well. And I'm going to do this, but then all these other things branched off of that too,
Yep.
because you
Yep.
found something that's like, okay, this works really well. I know what
Yeah.
I'm doing with it.
Yeah.
It's a pretty beautiful thing to watch something like
Thank
that
you.
blossom.
Thank you. So Marty Music is the only thing I, own and operate. MartyMusic.com.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's been for about not quite 7 years that it launched, but I've been doing YouTube for 14 years, right? So there was a transitional period there to get Marty Music going, and that was, once I got Marty Music going, I was able to do what I do exactly how I want to do it. So clearly that means that before that there was difficulties, um, obstacles, whatever, just like no comment kind of stuff.
Right.
But that's when I really got to do Marty music the way it's just me. I'm the sole proprietor. And
Yeah.
I get to make all I get a lot of great help though. That was another thing. But I had to do Marty music to get the help. In other words, I had to be in charge of everything to like make the best decisions for me,
Yeah.
And so part of that was I started from scratch, with zero. 7 years ago, I started completely over with no like assets brought to to Marty music. It was completely from scratch. So there was no guarantee that people were going to like come back to me or to find me or all. I just wanted to just still be able to do it for a living. That was my goal. But through that, I hooked up with this network here called Maiden Network, and also just met really supportive like people, younger, supportive, smart people that are like that came up in this world,
Mm-hmm.
So like I do everything like my website martymusic.com. I run that by myself. So that's not involved with my management or network. That's just like I work really hard at it, but it's not related to the management and help I get. But so
Mm-hmm.
they are based here, and that's why I started coming here in Nashville so much, is because of this network called Maiden Network, and I'm actually really their only music client.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they're not really, and surprisingly, no guitar YouTubers have signed with them, like through my recommendation. But
Man.
that's a lot of people just like to do it themselves. I get that
Mm-hmm.
because that's what I did. But once I got the help, it's been pretty incredible. I have some really amazing opportunities that they fight for me.
Yeah. That's
And
great, dude.
so that's been huge. But it's kind of like the equivalent of the olden days of a record label. It's like they just help run everything. They edit my videos now. They help me strategize. They've been able to get me some really great bookings more recently, and I'm leveraging each one to get another one. So it
Of
started
course.
with the guitarist from Greta Van Fleet. So I got to interview him, and see, that's another amazing example of like my new aspects to what's going on with me is like meeting someone like that. He's only like 22 years old or something, right?
It's
But
crazy.
he watched me, and I don't take credit at all for like anyone's guitar abilities, because I know like me learning, it was me. Like, even though I had great guitar teachers, it's ultimately up to the person to do to take the action, right? So I'll
Mm-hmm.
never take credit for any of that. But it sure is cool to know that I was like there with the information for them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there's a level of comfort that you bring and warmth that you bring to what you do that
Thank
makes it
you.
feel like you're in a room with you just
Yeah.
chilling,
And by the way, Anthony, that's why I use the angle I use. I set the camera up to where a student would perspective,
The vantage point of,
the
yeah.
student's perspective, because I just remember like taking lessons with my teachers and just I would just be so excited to go to a guitar lesson. So I always did it that way, and also because it's like the most common way. Most people are used to it now at this
Mm-hmm.
point. But Anthony does great work. I think I've plugged you enough, Anthony.
Anthony's not too far from me too. Anthony, we still need to hang at some
Yeah.
point. I can come up and see the barn. I mean, I would
I,
love to go up and see that.
oh God, the barn.
We should all get
That
together
now
and
that's
jam.
something I'm jealous of. I don't get jealous much, but that's one.
Yeah,
That's one,
dude.
Anthony.
Beautiful spot.
And
And
my
now look,
SRV chops, like, I know one, I'm on a 335, but I just have not had that like 6 month deep dive of just like transcribing like I just haven't done it. But I do know this one. Uh, you know,
That's the best one. That's the one everybody
So
knows.
I definitely know that one.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing Anthony right at the beginning too.
Me too.
Thanks, Anthony.
I'll send your check.
So Justin Sanderco, I got to shout out Justin Sanderco. He was doing it before me, and I was just absolutely in awe of the following, how someone got that many views. I mean, and he was fantastic at teaching. He's still great. He's a great guy. He became my friend. Yeah, Michael Palmisano's a barn boy too.
Yeah, he's still building it right now. I think I haven't talked to him about it lately.
I'm only a barn burner.
Nicely done. So,
what was I even just talking about?
oh, we were talking about SRV and Anthony and
yeah, I would really like to get better at the specifically like an SRV thing. I did make a Hendrix course that came out. That's the most recent one I did, and I dug deep for like maybe a year of just really just trying to figure out the how to teach, like how to teach it. Like I've taught songs and stuff, but how to like use the actual stuff he's doing in your own way. And so I did work on that really hard, and I got good feedback on it. The Hendrix,
that's a tough one to do too, man.
It is, and I don't do the thumb. I don't do the thumb thing, but
really?
But I say it right in the beginning. I'm like, I'm not a thumber, and my hands are small, and thumb is not comfortable for me. And my teacher didn't do thumb either, so I'm just, of course, the most authentic people will say that's not right. And hi, how are you doing out there?
What's funny though? The first time I saw the thumb over was Jerry. I saw Jerry playing triads like this.
Oh, yeah.
So I was always kind of like, what is he doing? What is that? And then I saw Hendrix, and then I was like, okay, if it's good enough for Jerry, if it's good enough for Jimmy, I can try it at least.
So,
but it's,
Yeah, so one that I see all the time is, like the minor 7, where you're just like that. And
I do that
like,
too.
even though that looks really, like I can play it, but I've just always played that chord like that.
Yeah. Me too. I mean, I think it depending on where the voice leading is going, I'll change the way I'm fingering something.
Yeah.
But
I'll do that one. I'll do that one.
Yeah. Dude, you know what I just heard? And we're running out of time. Look, I had this, and we got to hear.
We'll do a follow-up.
We should, because like I have so much I want to talk to you about. But you know what I just learned recently is, so there's this Mike Landau tune, Worried Life Blues. You know that tune? He does this weird ass thing in the beginning of the live version where he goes, he bends the 6th string.
Wow.
Up to a unison from the 3rd string.
Wow.
And when I first heard that, I was like, hold on a second. What part of the neck is he in?
Right.
Where, like, I can't hear where the register is. And then I like really kind of slowed it down and was like thinking about it. And I was like, he's got to be bending that 6th string, because you can hear the roundness of that note come up. That is stuff, like little things like that. When you hear players do those little tiny things, is what makes me, because I love Mike Landau, but I'm a huge Wayne Krantz head. I love Wayne Krantz.
I saw him here.
Yeah, he is otherworldly. Like
he used the night that I went, he used a ring modulator too much. Like just
he's really into that.
It was just, I mean, I it's because he's so good that he's like, I'm bored if I don't like push it just to the craziest sonic limits. So I get that, but it was that particular night, it was too much.
Yeah. Did you see him with Tim LaFabe and with Keith Carlock?
No, it wasn't that. It was just him solo.
Oh, really?
I mean, with a band, but like just his own act. I see someone saying they like my old funk lessons on My Heritage. Thank you.
Oh,
I still love doing all the funk stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. We
didn't even get a chance to talk about that stuff or jam band stuff.
I was in a before, before I even graduated college, actually, that same guitar teacher I had, Chris Sherlin, he was in a working nightclub band playing a lot of 70s funk and soul. And he got burned out because he's older. And so he got me an audition for the band, and I got the gig. And nice. So I started playing with these guys that are now our age now, but I was 21. And so that was like my first foray into playing professional. Like I had bands and we played frat parties and stuff, but this was my first like, working band, corporate kind of thing.
Nice.
And I was going somewhere with that, but oh, the funk stuff. Yeah, the funk stuff. So that's where I learned all the staples. Cut the cake. She's a brick house. Give me that sweet, that funky stuff. Give it to me.
Oh, heck yeah,
Give
dude.
me that stuff, that sweet, that stuff. I mean, it all comes right back to me. We did.
Did you guys have a horn section?
Yeah, we did. But mostly we had an amazing saxophone player that also taught at my music school, and he used a harmonizer really well.
Mm-hmm. Did you guys pick up the pieces?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
The answer is yes and yes. I pick up the pieces every time, man. We did. We had a great singer, Rodney Bowe, and we do Let's Get It On, and just the women would go crazy, man. He was a very debonair, suave guy.
That sounds fun, dude.
It was super fun. We were called The Function.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, it was fun.
Especially for a GB band, that's killing.
Yeah. Oh, but so someone said they love the funk lessons on the Heritage, and thank you so much. I'll do some more funk, I guess, but it doesn't really do that well.
Really?
Yeah. But what I was gonna say though is Heritage. That's a great guitar. I still have it. I still like it. It's a good guitar. But I will say, because some people like when I started working with Gibson, it was like as if like I was betraying Heritage, and they do make great guitars. But I'm super comfortable saying it is that like from the very beginning of my YouTube career, I've reached out to Heritage from the very beginning. And my first offer to them the very first NAMM show I went to, basically, once I had a channel that was starting to take off, and I was using that Heritage all the time, I met with them, and my ask was I said, I'll like promote your guitars, like I will be your ambassador of your guitars. And, I'd love just a couple of other, like another hollow body and like your Les Paul version, a bunch of different versions.
Right.
And that's all I, not pay me nothing. Just I will 100% support you, right? And they were like, "Oh, that's just amazing. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you." Totally ghosted me. So from the very beginning, they've never followed up with any of, and I wasn't even asking for money. I was like, let's work together. It was, more of a let's work together. And they came back around like a bunch of years later. And I basically just said the same thing. Send me the Les Paul version, send me another hollow body, and I'll put them in the videos, and then we can just take it from there. And they ghosted me again. So it was pretty easy decision, honestly, when you have someone that's ghosting you, and then you have like one of the biggest guitar companies gets acquired, and they say that, Marty, we love you, we want to work with you. Yeah, I mean,
you gotta go there.
Anyone that was in my position, it was like, forget it, I'm down. And then, sure enough, I have that video. I mean, I don't assume everyone's seen it, but it's a pretty popular video where I actually make this guitar, or I'm not making it, but I'm with them at the Gibson factory as they literally make this guitar.
I saw it. It was great, man.
And they gave it to me at the end. So
killer.
Which one sounds like a better opportunity, and also everything that I ever have had a brand deal with was stuff I was already a fan of. I can't really think of anything where I was like, oh, I don't really like this, but the paycheck's really good.
Right.
I can't
Right.
really think of those situations. Everything I'm doing right now, I play Gibson guitars, and I always played Gibson and Strat, Fender and Gibson style guitars. I was always a traditionalist in that way. I had a bunch of Boss pedals and Boss loopers, or the loopers I was always using. So that's kind of a natural fit to go over with them. And I always use D'Addario strings, and I work with them. I buy from Sweetwater. I'm working with them. It's
Yeah,
oh
man.
yeah, and I only bring it up because there was this app that came out called Moises.
I feel like I've
It
heard of that.
isolates. It uses the AI like that they used in the Beatles documentary to isolate each instrument and
Oh
voice.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So this is an app called Moises, Moises. Um, I just got this random email, like a like a spam, almost like like a junk email, almost like just saying, "Hey, this new app Moises isolates all the tracks, so you can make your own backing tracks, or you can make jam tracks, or in my mind, I was like, oh, I can isolate guitar tracks and hear them better for learning the song. Yeah, sign me
Yeah.
up. If it does what it says it does, then that sounds really cool." So I went out of my way. I mean, I was not in touch with them at all. I just immediately paid for the premium. Well, I tried it. It worked amazing. Then I paid for the premium. It's like $10 a month or something, and I'm using it every day now.
That's awesome.
To just get, you can remix it. So I just boost the guitar, and I have it. Oh, sorry, my nose is running.
That's all right.
Boost the guitar up, and then vocals way down, drums, bass, everything else way down. So I still have the beat, still have the vocals to know what part of the song I'm at, but it's like just guitar in your face, right? And I was like, this thing works so incredible. We have to, I want to tell people about it.
That's great.
And then so sure enough, we reached out and we did a little brand deal, but it was only because I was so excited about how cool it was, and I knew people would love it. Singers can take the vocals off of a song and then make their own karaoke track with just one click,
Can you slow it down?
You can, but what I do is there's an app called the Amazing Slowdowner.
Yeah, I use Transcribe. I know about that one
Right,
too, but yeah.
So the Moises app, it will loop and slow down. It will change keys. You can EQ. You can left and right pan. It will do all that. But the interface on Amazing Slowdowner is better. I've just been using it for years, so I just can use it right away. So what I've been doing is, one, if it's a real easy acoustic song or just something because I'm lazy that day, I don't use the Moises. I just put it straight in, but it's streaming from Apple Music, so it's not super high quality. And so if it's a real song that I really need to break down, I put it on Moises, I remix it where the guitar is way higher, and then I export it into Amazing Slowdowner. It's with one click. I mean, it's as easy
That's
as
so
one
easy.
click. And then I can loop and break it all down. And I mean, I'd say 99% of the stuff I teach is by ear, because that's just faster for me. And I've made mistakes. I do feel it's a little unfair to. I mean, once again, look at me. I'm not upset, but sometimes it's unfair. People say I teach everything wrong.
I don't think that's
and all
true.
I can say is I've done 5,000 videos for real. I mean, just YouTube. Forget the courses.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I've done it's 14 years, so it's a long time. But yeah, I've definitely made mistakes or screwed something up. But the one that I was most mad at myself over, I just made a new video recently, was
right.
When I started Marty Music. Remember how I said I had to start from scratch, start over. So I was literally starting a new channel with 0 videos, right? So before Marty Music channel launched, I shot and edited 100 the top 100 songs before the channel would release, because I was already so well, I had been established on YouTube that if I just started a new channel with one video on it, it just didn't make an impact to me. So instead of me just launching it as soon as I was able to, I waited 3 months and just pumped. So I had a list. I was just checking them off. But because of that, some things like slipped because I was scrambling to make so many videos.
Yeah.
And so on that one, and that's I still remember because "Come As You Are" is like that was like the guitar store riff when I was working at a guitar store.
Yeah,
It
man.
was the '90s, but that was the ones I was like, okay, that's on the list, right? And so I was so bummed because I taught it. It doesn't sound wrong, but there was one note missing.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going so fast, and it was from my memory, right? That's why I screwed it up because I was like, oh, I know that one. All right, what's the next one? It's like, I wasn't doing that well. I mean, my anxiety and mental health during that time was pretty extreme. So I apologize for my mistakes, people.
Hey, man, nobody's perfect, and
no,
like
this is true.
I feel like there's a margin of error that's okay when you're a guitar player.
Like Anthony said, the best way to know if you've made a mistake in a video is to just publish it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
So true, dude. So someone was asking, do you have like, in your funk lesson stuff, is there like right hand strumming stuff too?
Well, I haven't done any like funk lessons in so long that probably not. I think I mean I did. Yeah,
Somebody
I
should
don't have
do
any. I don't have any courses on funk, but I will say this: plug. One of my favorite guitar players, and Mark, one of your favorite guitar players, is a fellow named Eric Krasno.
Mm-hmm.
Originally from got notoriety in the band Soul Live and Lettuce, and his own solo stuff.
His most recent album is ridiculously good.
And he's produced and written with Derek Trucks and Marcus King and all that. He's one of the greatest funk guitar players. I produced a course that he made. So that's at Marty Music. That's the Eric Krasno Masterclass. That's probably the funkiest thing I have. And it's by one of my favorite funky guitar. I just happen to be friends with him. And I continue to become friends with some of my people I look up to,
Yeah,
so,
man.
So that's really cool. It's always those are like the happy, extras, the yum yums.
Yeah. Somebody should do a video just on Corey Wong's right hand.
Yeah, I mean he's really got the that loose wrist thing amazing.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, no, I love that there's like a guitar hero that's a rhythm guitar player. I mean that is really cool.
Oh my god, yeah, dude.
So I do dig that.
Yeah, I mean there's so much to cover, and I don't want to hold you, Marty. We're over.
We'll do. Yeah, it's okay, but we'll do a follow up. Anyone have any final things that I didn't? I don't know. I really want to know.
Well, next time, if we do this again in the new year, we should do a whole thing about our favorite jam bands and our favorite jam band tunes. I've done 2 with Josh Scott from GHS. I have a Pearl Jam tattoo. Pearl Jam is the reason I play guitar. And I have a Pearl Jam tattoo. So we are both huge Pearl Jam nerds. So we did like the whole discography, and we talked about our top 2 favorite songs on each record. And then we just did about a month or so ago, Josh and I did all of our favorite tracks from the 90s, our top 10 favorite tracks from the 90s. So maybe we could do something that's like jam bands.
I would definitely do that.
That'd be fun.
Full circle for me. I jammed with Blues Traveler. So
you did?
It was like probably, 20. I bet it was like a magical, like exactly 20 years. Like after I saw them open for Santana, probably. I'd never looked it up, but I'm just pretending that it was like some magical like lining up of things. It was so weird. I went to this college called College of Santa Fe in Santa Fe, New Mexico, for film because I wasn't someone that was going to go away to study music. I wasn't good enough, and then all I did was play guitar. But anyway, I don't even remember where I was going with that.
That's okay. Hey, let's do the lightning round get down so you can get back to your evening.
Let's do that.
All right, so Marty,
I guess my brain is starting to fade.
That's okay. I'm gonna put a metronome on for some suspense. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask you 10 questions, or this or that. You can explain your answers if you want. I love explanations, but it is not mandatory. Here we go.
Okay.
Beatles or Stones?
Beatles.
Bocce
I
ball.
can say why. I can say why.
Okay.
I love them both. They're really not similar at all, other than people saying which one do you like more. And the Beatles, if you really, the Beatles are so much deeper. How about this? Just listen to a Beatles album and just listen to Paul McCartney's bass lines for a session. Just listen to just the bass lines, and it's just deeper. It's just deeper. Now, the Stones are cooler. Yes, they're cooler. I get it. They're more badass.
People gave me shade forever because my for the first 4 seasons, my question was Lennon or McCartney.
Ooh.
So what if I asked you that?
It would have changed. I would have said Lennon, but now I say McCartney because of the documentary, and once again, like he drew the short end of the stick by becoming the bass player. He didn't want to become the bass player, and he ended up being like the greatest bass player of all time. I think
of all time.
When it really boils down to it, he's the greatest bass player of all time. Is he the most shredding technically? No, but every song, just the bass is a beautiful song. Like the melodies, it's insane. It's
oh my god,
insane.
And singing like a bird on top of crazy bass lines. Forget about it.
Crazy. And by the way, I didn't teach Blackbird the way he plays it.
That's fine.
I got that too.
Bocce ball or cornhole?
Bocce ball, because my mom has a bocce ball court.
Oh, awesome. All right, so now you're splitting your time between West Coast and out in Nashville. Mountains or the beach?
Ooh, the beach.
Yeah.
It's so expensive for a reason.
Yeah, dude. San Diego is one of my favorite places on planet Earth, dude. I've been there. Oh, it's so amazing.
And it's a lot more mellow. Like the vibe is just a little more eased back than LA and in Orange County.
Yeah, my buddy lived in Del Mar Heights for a while, and I went out to visit him. And he used to take me into like Pacific Beach and like hang out down there when we were younger. It was so much fun.
I played more. There's in Pacific Beach, but then Ocean Beach is even hippier, more hippie vibe than Pacific Beach. Ocean Beach, there's this amazing little dive bar called Winston's. Jam band bar, and like Slightly Stupid played their first gigs there.
Oh, nice, cool, man.
But like Carl Denson and who I played with Carl Denson.
Oh my god,
I've taught him guitar too.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, very cool. But anyway, let's keep going.
All right, for editing video, Final Cut Pro or Premiere?
Adobe Premiere.
Okay.
And I started using Final Cut in the beginning. Well, first it was iMovie, then Final Cut. Then they changed all the way, like the interface or something. They like completely overhauled it, and that's when I switched to Premiere, because I originally just had it set up with all the same Pro Tools, the Final Cut shortcuts. But now it's just Premiere is just so natural to me now. So yeah.
All right, cool. 335 or Telly?
335.
Okay.
But I love a Telly. I have probably the oldest guitar that I have is a yellow Telly. So.
Oh, is it a Blackguard Telly?
No, it's not the butterscotch Telly. It's not this butterscotch Teddy. Have you seen that? That's from Circle Jerk.
I haven't seen that, but it's
lots of
fantastic.
Teddies. Yeah. No butterscotch Teddy. It's I call it banana pudding. It's like the lighter yellow with the white pick guard. But my dad bought that for me in 1995, so that's like the oldest one I have.
It's like that Robin Ford vibe, almost like that faded Olympic white that turns into that.
He does have one. His is vintage though.
Yeah. I love that guitar. All right, Back to the Future or Hot Tub Time Machine?
Back to the Future. That's
All right.
easy, you guys.
Yeah,
and don't get me wrong, Hot Tub Time Machine's great, and those guys ended up. I don't know if everyone knows this, but the Hot Tub Time Machine makers made Cobra Kai.
Did they? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're obsessed with the Karate Kid, and they came up with the idea and pitched everyone and got it made.
So crazy. YouTube or Instagram?
YouTube is the label that pays me.
All right. Blue
No
or
one's ever
green?
said that.
No one has. Blue or green lightsaber? If you were going to be a Jedi, what would you go?
Now we're getting into it.
Yeah.
No, I have to say green because, I mean, they're both equal, but I would say green because Return of the Jedi was just like such a huge movie for me, and like I didn't know he was gonna have a green lightsaber, and so then he and he does the green lightsaber. It just like blew me away. It was so exciting.
It's a new color.
Yeah, new color. What?
Dude, Marty, we just got back from Disney World 2 weeks ago, and my kid, who's now 11, she was like, "If you were gonna have a lightsaber, though, would you do?" So this is her coming out in May.
Okay.
So would you have a blue or a green one? I was like, green. I'm team green.
So me and my kids, who are 17 and 14, that is the mutual passion all three of us can do together is Star Wars stuff. We watch the series, Andor we were watching before I came out here. Just anything, any new Star Wars, me and my two kids, it's just the three of us. We're just like, I'm so proud. That,
dude.
They don't realize how indoctrinated they are.
It's parenting done right, my friend. As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. I actually here in this this place here, there's a one of those like fancy floor rugs.
Mm-hmm.
It's all like kind of like Victorian, but if you look more carefully, it's a Stormtrooper and a Boba Fett and a Darth Vader.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we're definitely going to hang out and do this again. All right. Who's the boss or Family Ties?
Family Ties.
Yeah, me too. All right. Here's the last one, Marty. Sometimes this is the hardest. Sometimes this is the easiest.
Okay.
If you could take one record, doesn't have to be your favorite record of all time, but if you could take one record and erase it from your memory just so you could go back and listen to it for the first time again to experience it. Kind of like the Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. What record would that be?
Love that movie.
Me too.
Haven't seen it in a long time. What album would I erase?
Yeah, just so you could go back and hear it again for the first time.
Yeah, and that ticking is making it more intense, It's like more pressure with the ticking. You have 5 seconds. You have 5 seconds to comply. That's from RoboCop.
I remember the thing.
Ed
like
209. Ed 209.
Yeah, man. I remember that.
Okay, I'm just stalling now, by the way. I'm going Beatles.
Okay.
I would say maybe Let It Be. Yeah, maybe Let It Be. It has,
why? Tell me why.
Well, the new documentary, so I'm like connected even more so with what was going on in those songs. And then I just like a bunch of those songs, like I Dig a Pony.
Oh, that's a great song. Yeah, his vocals on that are so slamming too.
So good, yes. I mean, and of course, Rubber Soul's, Timeless, they're all amazing. But I was just thinking, Let It Be is like a little bit later. There's some really cool, different kinds of songs on there.
Yeah, that's a great record, man.
And man, Led Zeppelin 1 too. I almost went Led Zeppelin, and Black Sabbath too. I mean, these are all good calls.
Yeah. It's what's fun about it too, man, is like I've had so many. I mean, I'm at like 100. You're like, I think the 100, almost 110 now episodes, and everybody's answers have been so not what I would expect. Like it just like, oh, okay. Like, but you know what has been the most popular one? You could probably guess it, I bet, but Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh yeah,
that's been the most popular one, and
that's a good answer. That's a good answer.
Yeah, I mean, I love Pink Floyd, but I'm not like I listen to them all the time.
I just did a Run Like Hell lesson And what was
Nice.
cool about that is that Boss made the delay patch for it, and people can get it for people that there's a free link to play right along to get the patch. That's another cool thing about the Katana, at least with my audience that works well, is I do these. They make these great sounding patches for different songs. Like they did Redbone.
Really?
Song. Yeah, and it's got that synthy sound. And
wow.
I mean, just as an example of one that's like more unusual.
Yeah.
Some Rage Against the Machine noises that they've made and stuff. But it's all free, and so if you have a Katana and you're just like learning, you can get those sounds. So that I think is a really cool feature.
That's dope. That's the stuff that you and I probably wish we had when we were growing up playing this instrument.
Yeah,
It's
amazing. I'm just waiting for an opportunity to go to Japan. I've never been, so I'm, Boss and Roland are in Japan. They haven't invited me. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just like wishful. Like I'm throwing it out there to you guys. Help me get to Japan somehow.
Universe,
yes,
take that and do what you will.
Yes. All right,
dude.
Man. Well, thank you
Marty,
so much. That was really fun.
Man, I really appreciate you.
Shout out to Wax.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, shout out to Wax for hooking this up and making this happen. Shout out to Bev for doing all the moderating stuff today. Shout out to you, my friend, for making time.
It was fun.
Really great to meet you.
Good conversation.
Anything you want to plug real quick before we head out?
Anything I want to plug? No, I'm good. Marty Music YouTube.
Cool.
Click the links below.
Subscribe.
I do. I mean, I do have a new Hendrix course at martymusic.com that I've gotten really positive feedback on. Like people are really telling me anyway that they're getting a lot from it. So I appreciate that.
Oh, that's awesome, Marty.
Yeah.
All right, well, hang for 1 second, Marty. Everybody, take care of yourself. Take care of each other. We'll see you next time.
Later.